This is the Court Report. I am the fill-in guy, Steve Montoya, with Megan Peasha. And Megan, I wish I was filling in for Chris Stonebreaker because he was on assignment or something like that, but simply not the case.
No, it's not the case. Chris is on, unfortunately, a very unlucky streak. He broke his finger playing the MaxPreps touch football game.
Touch football?
Yes, touch football.
Okay.
He tore his ACL in an indoor soccer game, and most recently, and Steve, I'm not making this up, he was on a whale watching adventure, and, well, we have a photo. Ooh.
Kids, turn away.
Ouch. Chris Stonebreaker is going to be okay, but we're going to give him some time to recover before we let him back on camera. But in the meantime, Steve, really happy to have you on the show.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, and enough about Chris's face, although it's nice to talk about. Let's talk about something important, and that's basketball postseason.
Absolutely, and we have 9 states who will be joining the postseason as of this week. We have North Carolina joining, as well as Georgia, Nevada. We have Utah, Delaware, Washington, Vermont. We've got Indiana, and we have Oregon.
Yeah, and many other states are playing regional tournaments and things like that to get into state tournament bracket play. And guess what? You can find every single bracket right now by visiting maxpreps.com/playoffs. That's both boys and girls.
That's right. All right, time to bring in the third member of our Court Report team, and that is our national basketball editor, Jason Hickman. He is joining us via Skype today. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great. Obviously, and well wishes are with our friends Chris. We hope he recovers. But every great basketball team has to fight through adversity and injuries. And Steve, you stepped in there for us. And quite frankly, I think we've upgraded the position.
Thanks. I'll be playing center.
Okay. All right. Well, you better be ready because we have some hard-hitting questions to get you started, Jason. Here we go with 3 in the Key with Jason Hickman. And jumping right into question number 1, number 25 ranked Paul VI beat number 23 DeMatha for the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference tournament title last night. So Jason, my question, is the WCAC the best high school tournament in America?
I think so. Let me kind of throw a couple qualifiers in there. First of all, the WCAC has 10 teams. I'm guessing the national average would be in the 6 to 7 range. So they have that going for them. It's also very unique in the fact that they have schools from Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia. So drawing from, a pretty unusual 3-state or district swath there. But in terms of this season, and maybe even going back to the 1960s and 1970s, when Morgan Wooten first brought DeMatha into the national consciousness, I think the WCAC has been right there at the top of the list every single year. This year, there are 3 nationally ranked teams. First of all, Paul VI, you see there, who beat DeMatha for the tournament title last night. You've got DeMatha, who's been in there as well. And then the other team who is actually the regular season champion is St. John's of Washington, D.C. All 3 of those teams have been ranked throughout the season. And there's a 4th team, Bishop O'Connell from Arlington, Virginia, who also has a very solid resume and has knocked off all 3 of those teams at some point in the season. So very competitive. Maybe just to kind of illustrate things a little bit, back in January at the Spalding Hoop Hall Classic, DeMatha beat St. Joseph, who may be the number 1 team in New Jersey, by 30 points, yet came back and was handed 3 losses in league play and only was good enough to take 2nd in that league. So that's a little bit of an illustration of how strong the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference is this season.
Hey, Jason, question number 2. Based on the results from this season, who deserves the biggest bump in 247sports.com's player rankings?
Yeah, well, great question, Steve. And first of all, let me just kind of step back and say, first of all, who am I to dissect the job that Jerry Meyer's doing over there at 247 Sports? Flat out best analyst in the business. If you're going to look for some credible and qualified player rankings, 247 Sports is the place to do that. With that said, the immediate thought that comes to my mind is the guy that you're looking at right there, Luke Kennard, has had an absolute breakout junior season in Franklin, Ohio. He's averaging nearly 40 points per game and has led his team to an 18-5 record. Really kind of a one-man show there in the Buckeye State. But Jerry Meyer, being the pro that he is, he's already on top of this. He's got Kennard at number 12 in the country, and I think that's probably right about where he belongs at this point. So looking a little deeper down the list, another guy that I think will make a big jump toward the end of the season and maybe going into the summer is the young man that you're looking at right there, Alonzo Trier of Montrose Christian. Absolutely phenomenal scorer. In terms of the guys that I've seen, got to be one of the top 10 scorers in the country. No real noticeable deficiencies in other areas of his game. He's a big guard, right around 6'4", and probably about 200 pounds. Had one of the performances of the season in going for 36 points against Findlay Prep at the Jerry Tarkanian Classic in Las Vegas back in December, and averaging around 25 points per game for the Mustangs this season, which is the alma mater of Kevin Durant. But yeah, phenomenal player, ranked number 66 currently, and again, I expect him to make a big jump in the coming weeks and months.
Thanks, Jason. I think you did just fine on that recruiting report there. All right, on to question number 3. Now that we're getting into the postseason, which nationally ranked team is going to have the rockiest road to win a state championship this year?
Yeah, well, obviously, you could point to number 1 Mater Dei. That might be low-hanging fruit in terms of the answer to this question. But I'm going to go out east a little bit and look at the Indiana Class 4A state tournament, where you've got number 7 Arsenal Tech, led by Trey Lyles, and number 21 Carmel. They do something very unusual in the Hoosier State, which kind of blows my mind, but seems to be a popular concept there in Indiana, which is a blind draw in the first round. And the blind draw was not particularly favorable to either one of these teams. Tech will open up with storied Lawrence North, which was the high school home of Greg Oden, while Carmel will open up with a very solid Zionsville team, and is in the same sectional as Hamilton Southeastern, which has actually beaten Trey Lyles and Tech this year and took Carmel right to the wire. So Tech and Carmel cannot play until the state championship game. But if I had to bet on it, I think both of those teams will be very hard-pressed to both make it that far in the tournament.
Very interesting concept there in Indiana with the random draw. All right, thanks so much, Jason. That'll do it for 3 in the key, and we'll be back to you in just a moment.
All right, well, it's that time of the show where we get to learn a little bit about a 2014 top recruit. This is James Blackmon in Get to the Game, inspired by American Family Insurance.
Get to the Game, inspired by American Family Insurance. James Blackmon Jr., a 6'4" shooting guard from Marion, Indiana, dreams of following in the footsteps of his father and coach, James Sr., a former star at Marion himself.
What's inspired my dreams is growing up playing basketball, looking up to my dad. He's had a great career and he's been everywhere I want to go. My ultimate dream in life would be to make it to the next level and play beyond college basketball.
He's been my leading scorer since he's been a freshman. Then he's going to really come out and work really hard every single day. I protect James's dreams by telling him that he needs to remain humble, that he needs to, every single day, not take things for granted.
James has most of his family right beside him on the court, with his father as coach and his younger brother VJ as a teammate.
The relationship with my family is very close. Me and my brothers look to get each other better at anything. James is a big role model in my life. He shows me how to work hard, and also I want to accomplish some of the things that he has already.
Since they were young, they've always looked up to their dad. He is their dad and their coach, but I think they take the criticism and understand that it's meant in a nurturing way.
What my dad did, set all the scoring records, and an opportunity for me and my brothers to relive those footsteps.
James knows that he has to keep working hard to protect his dreams, and he feels a duty to help others as well.
The key to his success is being level-headed. He's been consistent in his work ethic. He's been consistent in his attitude.
My teammates would describe me as a guy that leads by example.
He's learning now that he has to be a little more vocal and be a positive role model for the other players on the team.
What keeps me balanced is the people who look up to me. Just trying to be a good role model for them and just be a better person.
To watch more inspiring stories about these incredible athletes and their dreams, visit amfam.com/gettothegame.
Very cool to see the family ties there.
Absolutely, and Marion will open up their postseason play on March 4th. They're going to open against Logansport in the Indiana Class 4A state tournament.
All right, it's time we bring back in our national basketball editor, Jason Hickman. Jason, we just learned about a 2014 top recruit. Now we're looking ahead to the class of 2017 and a 7'1" freshman. Jason, tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, obviously, you always want to be a little bit careful and go with some caution here when you're talking about a freshman, a class of 2017 prospect. But one guy that is sure to break onto the national radar in the next few years, 7'1", 255-pound freshman from Miami Beach High School in Florida, Zack Brown. You see him right there. Absolute freakish size, coordination, strength, and mobility. Had the opportunity to talk with his high school coach earlier this week, Jacob Shaw, there at Miami Beach. And he made the strong and bold statement that you are looking at a future professional basketball player. And that's that can be a little bit of a slippery slope to get onto, a little bit of a dangerous statement. But Coach Shaw there sounds like he has a plan in place to help this young man realize his dreams. And Zack, at a very young age, already understands that there are certain things that he can and cannot do as a young man that wants to aspire to be a pro. Again, this is more than just size. He was very productive on the court this season, averaged over 18 points and 16 rebounds per game in Florida's largest classification, and had a game where he went for 43 points, 26 rebounds, and 11 block shots. And Coach Shaw was very sensitive to the notion that those stats might be inflated. He says those are spot on. So we'll go with him. And definitely Zack Brown, big man to keep an eye on going forward.
Yeah, I think we'll be hearing a lot more about him through the next 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. He is making the other guys out there look like freshmen themselves. Yep. All right. Jason, while we still have you on the line, I did want to ask you about another interesting article that we ran on the MaxPreps homepage, and that is the Mount Rushmore article featuring 4 of the greatest high school basketball players within the last 20 years. Tell us about this article. It's a good one.
Yeah, well, everybody loves a good Mount Rushmore debate, so we decided to kind of throw our hat into the ring here. And what we did to kind of make this a little bit different, we just took the last 20 years and really did this based solely on high school accomplishments. So we're really kind of throwing out what they did at the college and professional level. But looking at our Mount Rushmore there, starting on the right, Kobe Bryant, just kind of fit inside that time frame. Won a state title at Lower Merion his senior year, the first state title at that school in over 50 years, and surpassed Wilt Chamberlain among scorers all time in the state of Pennsylvania. Moving to the left there, Greg Oden, 3 straight state titles at Lawrence North. Simply the best big man, really not debatable in the last 20 years of high school. Next guy, Kevin Love, the greatest high school player in the history of the state of Oregon. Very productive scorer and rebounder, was an absolute rock star from the moment that he stepped on the floor as a freshman at Lake Oswego High School right outside Portland. And then the man to the left, everybody knows him, the king, LeBron James. No question about it, the best player in high school basketball over the last 20 years. Won 3 state titles, played for 4, really turned St. Vincent St. Mary there in Akron, Ohio into a national name, and one that has really maintained its success there without LeBron to this day, probably in large part due to the visibility that he brought to the school there.
All right, thanks, Jason. Now, one of the players not on Jason's Mount Rushmore is Kevin Durant. He was very close. And speaking of him, next week, we will release a video package on a look back at Durant's prep career at Montrose Christian, his journey from boy to man and Smelcom to manhood, presented by Old Spice.
And not only Kevin Durant there, but Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors as well.
Yeah, so look for both of those starting March 3rd right here on MaxPreps.com. All right, a popular name in the media right now is Jimmer Fredette. Will he be released? Will he be traded from the Sacramento Kings? And you know what we like to do with guys who are popular in the media.
Yeah, we like to go back to their prep days.
That is correct, Megan. And if Chris Stonebreaker, before he hurt his face in 2010, he actually caught up with Jimmer to talk about his best high school memories.
You know, high school was great experience. I just loved playing in Glens Falls High School in the gyms and all the big games. We'd get packed. All the places that we played at were pretty much old arenas, you know, old high school gyms. So it was tough to, you know, play in those places, but it was fun. And we went to the state finals my senior year, so that was a great memory as well. I was pretty well. Did pretty well. I was first team All-State, you know, for 2 years in basketball and in football. I was first team All-State for 1 year, you know, it was fun. I was Section 2 leading scorer for basketball, and you know, some of those were the best things.
So All-State in football, All-State in basketball, true athlete there. We'll see what happens to Jimmer. All right, now before we close the show, 2 teams got to play a official basketball game outside in Southern California, kind of showing off.
That's right, in the month of February. So, known for its famed boardwalk and bodybuilding culture, Venice Beach played host to the Liberty Outdoor Classic. Southern California girls squads Pacifica Christian of Santa Monica and Archer High School of Los Angeles enjoyed the sun in a sanctioned basketball game earlier this month outside. And on those world-famous courts there in Venice Beach, Pacifica Christian emerged victorious in the contest 31-29. Big thanks to MaxPreps correspondent Jake Downey for that story.
Yeah, amazing. Some schools right now having trouble getting to basketball gyms because of weather. Down in SoCal, they're playing outside.
Oh yeah, just a pickup game.
Just your normal day, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much for letting me fill in here for Megan Peasha and Jason Hickman. I am Steve Montoya. Thanks for joining us here on the Court Report.